Hey everyone, welcome to the show. This is our Sunday night show, the Horror Syndicate, up all night for now. There might be a name change in there at some point because we're not staying up late anymore because it's Sunday. It's a school night. It's a work day, pre-work day. Anyway, you know what I mean. Today is very special. We're talking about, as you might have seen, A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, and our quest through the Elm Street films. We shared a couple of things that I wanted to kind of go over if we could before we started, if my computer allows it, because my computer is an old fart. Actually, it'll be in April of next year. But we did, yeah, as you know, we've been doing the 5-star ratings, and I want to thank each and every person that does not hide the post because that happens a lot, believe it or not. Um, for coming in and rating these movies with us. It's given us peace of mind of what everybody thinks of each movie and a score that actually I feel like, for the most part, are pretty accurate. But if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, like us on Facebook as well. Share us all about. If you hit the damned like button on the video itself, it'll boost, through the cosmos, if you will. We will answer questions, comments that will be posted like this from our old friend Sean Sheridan, Dream Master stepped out, and your band. No, I love Dream Master. It's one of my favorites. Love the intro video. Thank you. Is that the first time you've seen it, Alex? Also, wanted to let everybody know that on Wednesday we will be talking about Hellbound Hellraiser 2 on the main show, on the big show, the Horror Syndicate Discourse, starting at 6:30 Central Standard Time, 7:30 Eastern. It's a good show. We will have 5 questions from me. We will have Nathan's autopsy of the scene. Seth will give us the what does he call it? The summaries by an asshole, and Jared will have tidbits and trivia as we do. I'm pulling up the Horror Syndicate's Facebook page now so I can show you what we've been doing. I got to turn my volume down because, you know, we don't want to get shut down because of my ringtone. But let's pull it up and I'll show everyone. We've got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan. Well, I don't want to try to say fan because I don't want you guys to think that we have fans. You're our community. And then, of course, the Friday the 13th. I've got them all on one post, which is funny because the Friday the 13th one I did on my computer on my drive home the other day. I'm in my phone on the drive home the other day. So right now we're rating The Omen from 2006. So here's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I want to know what you guys think. If these numbers are fair, if they're terrible, what do you think? But the actual ranking comes out to as the '94 Matthew McConaughey movie as the worst. Then the 2017 Leatherface as the second worst. 3D after that. The 2022 Netflix film is number 6. Part 3 is underrated in my opinion. I think it's better than the 2003 remake, The Beginning. I think this is a pretty solid list. I do wish that the part 2 was rated a little higher. And the other one I want to go over really quickly because we've already done the Friday the 13th films. I'm going to go through these. Happy Mother's Day. Forgot to say that. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. There we go. The Friday the 13th movies. First of all, you guys are psychopaths if you think Freddy versus Jason should be rated at 87%. But the most important thing, the top 3 are part 2, part 6, and part 4, which is totally fair. Although I'd flip flop part 4 and part 6, yes. But that's okay. I'm happy the way this is going to turn out. And as soon as we finish our shows on all of the Elm Street movies, we will reveal the Elm Street list. I can do another one. I've got Hellraiser, I think, finished. All 35 of those movies. I don't know. So let me know what you think. Evil Dead movies. We could put all of those scores up, and we can introduce Seth. Seth Rooney, how you doing?
What's up, man?
I'm struggling today. I quit some anti-anxiety medicine cold turkey, and I'm starting to feel it the last few days. So
Oh,
I'm
boy.
getting brain zaps and stuff like that, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's I don't know what to do about it. Anyway, Dream Master is probably the most fun and has the most rewatch value. He's 100% on both those facts because Seth and myself say this is our go-to Elm Street movie. Want some Freddy action? We're going to Dream Master.
Oh hell yeah.
Yes, yes, sir. Not seen the Omen since 2006. Pointless remake. I think most remakes are pointless, but I like. I haven't rewatched it in a while. I've got the Scream Factory box set. I'm doing a rewatch of the entire series, and I watched the Omen today. The first one. Nope, Seth left. Cool. Hello, Isaiah. How are you? It's a good film. It's not. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, anyway, you know the deal. If you've been following the show for a while, we will talk about the things we love, the things we don't love so much, and of course, give everyone our scores, our percentage scores, and the community score. So we'll be doing all that if Seth ever comes back. For me, I will say that I think that Dream Master maybe the most anticipated movie, the first most anticipated movie of my life. I remember seeing Dream Warriors and thinking to myself, boy, I was like 7, boy, Freddy's not dead yet. There's no way that that's the way he died. And sure enough, he gets resurrected by Jason's P, the dog. A weird way for a resurrection, probably one of the best resurrections of all time in my opinion. I mean, one of the best resurrection scenes also, whereas I think Frank's resurrection from Hellraiser might be the best resurrection scene, period, as far as the effects go and how gruesome it is. But I really do love the resurrection scene with the piss and everything like that in this one. And this was the first movie I started theorizing, like, what if there's this? After seeing the first trailer or first TV spot or whatever it was, I was like, starting to make my own like ideas for what could happen in this movie. And I didn't know who Tuesday Night was. They had a new Kristen. I just thought it was a new character. I think there's a lot of great remakes. The Thing, yes, The Thing is great. I don't consider it as much of a remake, even though it is. I don't think 13 Ghosts is as good as the original. Evil Dead is not a remake. 2013 is not a remake. You'll see. There's nothing to be sorry about. This is one of the best. I love it. I love this movie. I honestly prefer this over the 1987 Dream Warriors movie, and I've loved it since 1988 when I first saw it. It really got me. Freddy looks fantastic. The set design is fantastic. Just the art direction overall is fantastic. The only thing I will say that I don't like is the unceremonious ways they killed off the Dream Warriors, Kincaid and Joey and New Kristen. But I like Tuesday Night as Kristen, by the way. I know a lot of people don't. She actually met her, and she is a sweet person. And I think she did a good job for what she was dealt with. If she would have been cast as Kristen in Dream Warriors, the whole series may have been different, honestly. They may not have killed Kristen off. And of course, there was a writer strike like now going into this. So I think Rennie Harlan actually wrote a lot of this movie. What happened, bud? Are you having connectivity issues?
Just lost my internet for some reason. And then it went.
Oh man.
Yeah. Then it wouldn't let me go back on.
Now you're back on. So tell me about how you stumbled upon this one. Because that's what I was kind of doing while I was vamping. There's no one better. There's no one greater. Go ahead. Worst resurrection. Come on, get out of here. Dan's kill is horrible. That's part 5. Seth, are you there? I think Seth needs a moment to recuperate. I love Elm Street 2. Hey, Seth. Seth, you all right? You look like Max Headroom right now.
Yeah.
Give me a karate chop so I can screen cap it.
Yeah.
Talk. Try talking. You seem to be coming clear now.
Okay, so what was your question again?
Tell us about how you stumbled upon this and first reactions, if you can remember that far back.
Yeah, so I was hanging out with a friend in school who started kind of introducing me to a bunch of horror movies, and it was actually this VHS set right here that he had. This is the same one. He actually sent this to me a couple years ago, and I borrowed that from him, and I went through all the movies and watched it. And the funny thing with Dream Master is that like it's my favorite now, but like when I first watched it, I wasn't quite sure what to think because they did kill off the Dream Warriors so fast. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Especially watching them like back to back, so like I didn't have that, couple year gap in between, it was like I watched it right after part 3. And so I was a little disappointed with that factor. But the more time went on, it was just the one I always went to. It's someone mentioned it in the comments. It's the most fun and rewatchable. It's very fast paced. It's beautiful looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so one of the things that well, Sean just mentioned was Rick's death. We have mentioned that I think they ran out of money or something like that, and because they had this whole elaborate thing planned out, and it was going to look a lot better. And then, of course, this comment, yes, 1988 was great. We got the return of Michael Myers. We got the Dream Master, a new, or what is it? Not a new beginning. The New Blood. Good year. 89 was kind of lousy. Anyway, yeah, you're unfortunately this movie doesn't get too much love for some reason, and I'm not quite sure why. Honestly, I know there's a lot of people that don't like jokey Freddy, if you will, and there's a lot of people who don't like some of the deaths, but I like that this one. It kind of keeps the theme of passing the torch, just like Dream Warriors did with passing from Nancy to Kristen, now to Alice. And I always had this fan theory, like I think Nancy would just love Alice. I've always thought that in my head. Um, Sean, you're so weird. What do you think about it? Do you think Nancy would like Alice? I think she would. The delay is real today. Seth, you might have to back out and come back in. This always happens to him on the episodes that he's really excited about too. Unfortunately, um, I'll just keep vamping, I guess. Anybody have any questions about this movie that I might be able to answer? Because I would love to answer anyone's questions. Throw them up comments. Back out and come back in, Seth. Yes. Maybe I just want the full screen for myself. Um, by the way, a friend of mine made me this because Scream Factory doesn't have the balls to buy this from Warner Brothers. It's he made a dream. He made them all for me, but I want these individual, and he did so. But this is part 4 and 5 from that stupid Blu-ray set that we have. So I just wanted to show that off. I've got like 4 copies of Dream Master, and all of them really, because Elm Street's my favorite series. You defend Freddy's Dead, dude. I can defend Nightmare 5. No, see, the thing is, I defend all of them. I love them all. It's just you like 5 more than 4. That's bizarre to me. I like 5 just fine. I don't hate any of these movies, none of them. I like Freddy's Dead because it's a cartoon and different, and I just have a weird relationship with it. But I know how bad it is, and 5 is bad too. But I love it. I do love it. I saw it at the drive-in actually with a movie called Lockup with Sylvester Stallone. And I was thrilled when 5 came out. We'll talk about 5 next week, but I was absolutely thrilled when it came out. And I think Dan has one of the coolest death scenes of the entire series in the movie. But then we got hampered with 2 really bad death scenes with Greta and Mark. But this one, I will say, has some cool dream sequences. Ray Harlan apparently wrote a few of them. Rick's is the worst one, unfortunately. But a lot of people say, that I like Joey's death scene. People don't like it for some reason. But Freddy jumping out of the the wet dream comment, so much fun. There's a lot of fun to be had in this movie. The opening song by Tuesday Night, Running from His Nightmare is so good. It's my daughter. It's one of her favorite songs of all time. And just the only thing, and one of the things I do like is when they go to the boiler room and it's all cold. Joey stating that there's nothing going on, and not Alice, Kristen just brought everything back, which is pretty interesting. I'm not sure where you get the perception that the fourth film doesn't get enough love. Yeah, well, okay, that's the highest grossing on the heels of Dream Warriors. It doesn't get enough love. Just read the comments on our posts about it. Just because it made the most money of all the slashers of the 1980s does not mean it gets that much love. I mean, I believe Friday the 13th Part 5 made a lot of money too, and that gets a ton of hate. So box office doesn't mean shit. It doesn't. So it doesn't get enough love. Seth, come on, back me up here.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I see a lot more love for it now than before. Before I met you, I thought I'm a weirdo that loved this one. But I often see the comments about how 4 was kind of the start of the downward spiral of the franchise, because it was, I think 3 really started the whole kind of lean towards the comedy. And this just kind of amped that up a little bit.
Yeah, but comparing the box office from 1988 to 35 years later is a poor, argument for a movie that doesn't get hate. I love this movie, but this movie is not as well respected as it should be versus the other ones. This one, in my opinion, is just as good or better than Dream Warriors, in my opinion. I think Dream Warriors is actually overrated a little bit. So you're talking about box office again. It's making money off the heels of the Dream Warriors film. That's what am I wrong in thinking that?
No, I don't think so.
No, and that's also the time when Freddy was at its height. When he was on MTV, he was making the Freddy's Nightmares. So yeah, Freddy Mania was in full effect in 1988. But doesn't mean people love the movie. Seriously, look at the comments from our 5-star rating and tell me how much people love this movie. Every fan that I know that said this was the beginning of the death of Freddy, and it may well be, but I love it. I love it completely, 100%. I love the characters. I talked about the set design and the art direction in this movie. Fantastic. I do think this movie's underrated, and I think Dream Warriors is overrated. You can quote me on that shit. Freddy from 3 and 4 is a big jump from scary goofy to goofy. I don't think he's ever goofy in either one of those movies. I think he's more goofy in Part 5 than anything, and he goes off the chain goof in Part 6 or Freddy's Dead. All right, so let's talk about things we don't like about this one, Seth. I don't know if we're gonna make this a long episode or not. My head's hurting, so. What are some of the things you don't? Well, I should have fucking quit that shit cold turkey. So maybe it's the box office number.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't have done that.
No.
Well, I mean, one of the things I didn't like was that they killed off the Dream Warriors pretty early on. I felt like maybe if they killed, Joey at the beginning, maybe like
spread them out.
Did maybe later on, kind of like it would have been fine. Obviously the writer's strike affected the story behind this. They didn't have a shooting script ready. But those are. I mean, and Rick's didn't really care for that whole sequence either. But those are the only complaints I have about this movie. I fucking love this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have many complaints myself. Like you mentioned, Rick's death is bad. Killing off the Dream Warriors so fast bugs me. But honestly, I mean, what else was there to do? Because it was just a chopping block for everybody for the most part. It's the whole idea was to pass everything on to Alice
Yeah.
from Kristen, and they did that job, unfortunately. And I think, and I do wonder, and I want to get your opinion on if part of getting rid of them so fast had anything to do with Patricia Arquette not coming back. Um, I don't think so, but they brought in Tuesday Night, who I like, and I think that did change the complexion of the movie because it would have been kind of cool to see those two, Alice and Tuesday Night, Kristen, working together a little bit further rather than the first 15 minutes. But we didn't. And I wonder how she got the contract to put like 3 of her songs in the movie. It's on the cheap, I guess. Huh? So what do you think? Do you think if Patricia Arquette came back, would the complexion of this movie be any different?
No, I don't think so. I can't say for sure, but I kind of feel like well, maybe that's the reason. I don't know. I don't see why that's why I was sent off so early. Like that was probably the plan, was to have her character to the next, to Alice, pass on her abilities.
Yeah, which I liked, and which I like that was kind of Alice's power, was to get everyone's powers, and use them, which she kind of lost in the next movie. But every time somebody died, she gained their power, which I thought was a super cool idea, and the idea of the Dream Master and the final showdown was really great in this movie, in my opinion. The final scene, or the final battle between Freddy and Alice, was so cool. The set was awesome, and I loved. I mean, I think you mentioned something about the mirror scene. The evil shall see itself and it shall die. Not liking that. It was either you or Nate. I can't remember which one, but I liked it. And actually, I had Lisa Wilcox sign my autograph with that quote.
Well, it's not that I didn't like it. I do like that. I mean, I like the whole third act final battle in this, and I love especially the effects of when Freddy's, after that happens and he's like sort of like tearing himself apart. But it's not that I don't like it. It's just that it doesn't really make sense because Freddy's been in mirrors before.
Right. I mean, he was in mirrors literally in Dream Warriors.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was just that. I think it had a lot to do with Alice and her powers and all that different stuff. Okay, so now I want to ask you, what do you think your favorite kill is in this movie? And I'm going to take Debbie off the board because that's too obvious.
Oh, that's a dick move.
I mean, I'm going to answer 2, and I'm taking Debbie off the board.
So, taking Debbie off the board, huh?
Too obvious.
I guess I'll probably have to go with I'd probably go with Sheila, because I didn't think that the Dream Warriors necessarily had really great deaths either.
Joey's was good.
Joey's was pretty good. Kincaid, the whole sequence was cool with Kincaid, but
yeah, I want to throw the whole sequence in there too. Not just the kill. It's got a sequence and the kill, because I mean Kincaid's just knifed. But okay. Joey was essentially knifed and drowned. But the whole the whole dream sequence is part of the kill. And in my rating, that's how I rated it, was the kills and the dream sequences together, because Rick's kills sucked dick. But it could have been a lot better. Like the lead up to it was cool. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the whole thing where he's in the stall and there's the elevator and he sees Kristen. All that stuff was really cool.
Yeah.
So I guess if we're taking Debbie off the board, I guess I have kind of 2. One would be Kincaid because of the whole sequence.
Mm.
Actually, I have 3. I got 3.
Okay.
My next one is, this is my third one. It's just Freddy. Freddy's death was really cool.
It's true.
And but I also like wow, I just had her name in my head. The asthmatic girl there.
Sheila.
Huh? Sheila. Yeah. I like that whole sequence in
Did you
the
want to suck
classroom
face with her?
there.
Is that why?
It was a cool effect when she was being deflated. I thought it looked cool.
Yeah, I like
you know, and I just loved how.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I guess Robert's dentures fell in her mouth whenever they were like kissing, and that was her first ever on-screen kiss. I love hearing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I those are. I mean, they're the thing about the Elm Street movies is there's not very many kills in the movies. This one probably has one of the bigger kill counts, other than 2, of course. But they're always for the most part memorable. Yes, the lead up in Kincaid's, his nightmare and everything, and going all the way back to the junkyard, I thought was awesome. Especially when he was yelling Freddy's back and the camera pans out, on him, and then Freddy's right there. I do love the resurrection too. I mean, how did you feel about his resurrection?
I loved it, especially the way it was shot.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some people kind of make fun of the whole dog piss and fire thing, but it was a dream sequence, and I just thought it was a cool visual. I love seeing the ground open up. I love seeing like his body kind of reform, and then the way that the camera follows his shadow and then pans up his body, and he's like, "You shouldn't have buried me. I'm not dead yet." I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Do you think they kind of maybe whoever came up with the idea for this saw Hellraiser and thought, "Wow, Frank's resurrection was really fucking cool. We should do something like that." Because it's not the same by any means, but assembling all of his parts, it's a lot like Frank's. And Frank's is probably the best resurrection scene of all time, effects wise, and how cool it is. So I just thought of that. I never thought of that before, but like, because you see all of Freddy's muscles come back and organs, and and then they light the fire and he's back to normal. Really cool. I like him dusting the hat off and everything too. It's just I love that scene. And again, the cinematography, the art direction in this, and we can't say enough about Mick Strawn's work on this movie. He did a great job. Him and his sister, who gets all the credit, but did a great job in this film. And that's one of my favorite things about this, other than Rick's fucking scene. But with that aside, my favorite kill, if not Debbie, and you got me, is Freddy's for sure, because that's where I was going to go. And then
was it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But I think most of them are pretty decent though. Sheila's is good. I do like that. It's very cringy when he just lobs onto her face, and it's like, who'd want to kiss Freddy? I guess Lisa kisses Freddy in the second movie. So, Freddy's get some action in these movies. What are you gonna do? But I like that. One of my favorite things about this movie, I got something I want to talk about, but I can't think of what it's called, but there's a scene where you can see all these souls like in a circular thing. You know what I'm saying? It's just the camera's panning through it. I've always loved that, and that's something that's always stuck with me. Is like, these are all the people this motherfucker's killed. All the souls of them are in this like limbo state because of him. I've always loved that little scene. But no, I want to talk about the characters a little bit though, because we get I think they did a good enough job introducing the new crew, with still kind of having a little bit of focus on the original. Well, not the original, the Dream Warriors. Because first of all, Rick's entrance is one of my favorites. It's no contact.
Avoid all contact day.
Avoid all contact day. There you go. Yeah, and when Dad's popping pills like he's popping popcorn, it's avoid all contact day. See, this is what I'm talking about. The double down on being a feature length MTV. Get out of here with that. Come on, you did that twice. This movie's really good. Yeah, the pizza. Yeah, I saw your pizza comment. The pizza scene's really good too. it kind of goes back to the origins of the Freddy makeup, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of these new characters you really like. They all get. I like the way they're introduced. Debbie is, eating the whatever the fuck she's eating, and she's scared of
Not
bugs. Oh, huh? What?
was it a nacho?
I don't know what that was. It looked like it was some kind of fruit, but I thought it was chips. And Supergirl, give a bug a break. But like they're both hints on how they're both going to die. Sheila with her asthma, and like when they're introduced, it's really great. I think there's a lot of good. Yeah, I that should freak everybody out. Debbie's death should freak everybody out. It was fucked up.
So
Anyway,
good.
it was some of the best effects work. Screaming Mad George, I think, was check in, but you can't check out One Liner Freddy. Arguably, he's always been there. People are like, "Oh, so many one-liners." Oh, he did that shit in the first movie. Come on, and don't tell me that I've got the body, you've got the brain, or whatever. Or you've got the body, I've got the brain. Isn't a one-liner. Come on. Anything else you want to say? I'm about tapped out at this point.
Yeah, one of my a scene I really love too is um when Alice and Dan are on their way to Debbie's, and there's that sort of a loop that happens.
Mhm.
I thought that was really that was really cool. At first, I was like, "Is there something wrong with this tape?" But I thought that was a really cool sequence, and you know, also with her punching the gas and the truck getting damaged, and just the way that they did it and the way it looked, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I also love there's she goes in and she gets Dan and they're running away, and then there's that like spinning room. I thought that was kind of cool.
Hey, you should go to Horror Hound in August. I'll be there. Yeah, I mean, I really like the theater scene also, where
Yes,
yeah, the
definitely.
theater scene's really cool. She just kind of walks in, sits down, gets sucked
Yeah.
through the screen, and that's a really cool effect too. That doesn't get enough praise is her getting sucked through the screen and ended up at the Crave Inn, seeing her old self, the whole pizza thing. Because people remember the pizza, but they don't remember that she looks out in the crowd and sees all of her friends that have died and everything. There's a lot to this movie that just doesn't get. Well, in August it'll be in Indianapolis. That's not that far. I'm sure PJ will be there. I think Nathan's going to be there, so it'll be fun. But yeah, like that's another scene that just doesn't get enough credit, and I don't think Lisa Wilcox really gets enough credit for this movie. We had an episode of the THS Discourse where we had an interview with Lisa Wilcox. If anybody wants to check that out, it's on our YouTube channel. And Kincaid, of course. But yeah, I know that people do love her and love her for this part, but man, she had a big task of basically carrying this film, after Patricia Arquette, because in Dream Warriors it was a big ensemble carrying it to the end, and this was her. All of her friends were dying one by one, and it was always her throughout the whole movie, getting weirder and weirder.
And there was a good transition from Lisa. I'm playing Alice as sort of starts off as meek and shy, and then she kind of transitions into someone who's a little bit more with it and a little bit stronger through each one. Not just her attitude, just the way she played the part. Like I believed that transition. I believed her when she was meek and shy, and then I also believed her when she was like, badass at the end too.
Yeah, well, part of it comes from her brother Rick. When she kicks her shoe off.
Yeah. Swish killed the fish. And Ray disconnected his thing.
I didn't do it. I hit the table and it killed everything for me. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
Now I'm a blue screen.
Yeah.
Give me just a second. I mean, I could take the tape off my screen, but then it's all blurry. Look. Hi. I have tape covering my screen or my camera because the camera sucks on this, and I was like, fuck this camera. Plus, I don't want when I'm playing with my tidbits, I don't want anybody to see that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just joking. I did cover it up because we got the new camera from a couple of followers, and I was like, I'm not using this fucking thing ever again. So I just covered it up because it looked. I mean, you saw. Look how bad that looks. Well, you can't see it now. I'm not going to do that again. But
Yeah.
hey, your old biggest fan is back. Hi, Seth.
Hello.
So anyway, yeah. I mean, let's get into the scores if you want. Favorite character other than Alice. Don't know, and Freddy. No Freddy.
Kincaid. I know he wasn't in it for long, but that's I wish, like, out of all the Dream Warriors, I wish Kincaid lasted to the end.
That would have been cool. We like Ken Sagos a lot. We got him on the show, and he's a lot of fun. I would have definitely liked to see him last. My favorite character doesn't get enough talk. Alice's dad. What am I, a rabbit? I mean, he's definitely kind of and I like the transition of what he becomes in the next movie. Yes. And towards the end of this movie, where he's like, he's breaking out of this drunk thing because of losing Rick. I just like he's such a minor character, but I really like him in the movie and in the second movie that he's in.
Yeah, that was the thing I was gonna I'll probably comment on next week when we do part 5, because one of my favorite things about part 5 is that that transition of the relationship between Alice and her dad, and how much more like he's protective of her and on her side and all that. There's a nice little arc going on with him.
Yeah, and that's something that nobody pays attention to. Like there's all these little arcs in all of these movies. You've got Nancy's mom in the original movie. I would say the father, but I couldn't put John Saxon, Lieutenant Thompson, and but you get the side characters like Neil and John Saxon's character Donald Thompson in Dream Warriors. But then you also got characters like the parents, and like they don't get enough credit. The parents, they're I'll just say that I don't think the parents get enough credit in these movies. They're not as prevalent in Dream Warriors, but Clu Gulliger and Hope. Shit, I can't remember her name. Or is it Annette Benson? I can't remember. The mom. They're awesome. They have nice little story, and by the end, like she sees that Jesse's on the recovery from being a drug addict. Oh no, what are you doing, and where are you getting it from?
Yeah,
oh, drugs, Dad. And Alice's dad, and then we get to see again Alice's dad in the next one, all the way to the very end when he's like, where's my grandson? Is he hungry? Like I love him. And then you get to see Dan's parents be dicks, and Mark's. The parents don't get enough credit in these movies, and I know that, like especially in the first one and the second one, they're very skeptical, like of what's going on, which makes sense, because their friends are just dying off. But I don't know. I like some of the parents. I always have, and not just now because I am a parent. But
like in the first two, like the adult figures, they didn't believe in the situation. They didn't believe what Nancy or what Jesse were saying.
Even though Marge had fucking proof in her basement.
Yeah, of the real man. They didn't believe the supernatural side of it, which is understandable. It's something that would happen. If you went and told your mom about this, she'd probably slap you around. And
she did, actually.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah. And then starting with part 3, then they started having the adult characters kind of listen and try to help, with Nancy being an adult now, with Dr. Neil Gordon, and even with Max. I mean, Lawrence Fishburne, Larry Fishburne, he was listening to the kids. But yeah, and then with part 4, it is kind of a unique situation too, because there's that moment where he's trying to stop Alice from leaving the house, and he's like, I know what's going on with you and your friends, and it seems like he kind of knows and understands the situation, and he's just trying to protect. He wanted to protect his children, and then after Rick's death, he had to kind of confront that.
It finally started to straighten up. The thing, though, and also you got to think about by this point, we're maybe a year or more after Dream Warriors, which Dream Warriors was 5 years after, or no, 6 years after the original movie. So we're 7 years or so into this, and there are so many teenagers who have died, in their sleep mysteriously. And when he says that, I know what your friends are I wonder if he realizes they're going through the same damn thing that these other kids were going through. Even the kids at Weston, they weren't. The thing is, the teenagers in Springwood are not safe anywhere. Even in the hospital, and
right.
And maybe he realizes what's going on. And I kind of wonder between the movies. I mean, this is just conjecture, I guess, and kind of a theory. But I wonder if she got him to believe what was going on leading into the next movie, And I don't know. There's the parents never get enough love in these movies, and I think that's kind of a shame. Because they're completely absent in the next one. Well, not the next one, but Freddy's dead.
Yeah.
So
Besides Freddy,
if Nate were here, he would just roll his eyes at you. Besides Freddy, he is a parent. He is a father.
Kids.
He shook his wife to death. Mommy had to take her medicine. I like Freddy's Dead. I like it just fine. I just love the concept of Freddy Krueger, a boogeyman that can kill you in your dreams. Wes Craven was Wes Craven was a fucking genius. He he had the same brain cancer my wife had, and they both died from it. So, you ready for some scores, my dude?
Yeah.
You are coming through perfectly now, by the way.
It's amazing.
I know. This is amazing. Maybe we need to do a pre-show before the main show. You get all the bullshit out of the way,
Yeah.
And then, really, I mean, when we do this show, you generally go better, but then you had that weird outage, so it's not your fault, bro. Not your fault. Maybe I should take some more anti-anxiety pills so I can stop having these little in my brain. Anyway.
Yeah, or at least, talk to your doctor. Maybe get you something else.
Yeah, I don't want to take anything because I stopped taking them and I started feeling like myself again. And I dropped 10 pounds. You know why I dropped 10 pounds? Because I was carrying so much fucking water weight, because that shit apparently bloats you and makes you carry water weight. So
right, but your doctor may be able to get you to wean off a little bit, maybe.
Yes, yeah. So I'm talking to her tomorrow. Yeah. Well, she's kind of hot, so
there's that.
If she wasn't married, I'd hit the skins for sure. Anyway, or try to. So anyway, as you know, we do the 5-star ratings on Facebook, and we appreciate every single person who comes out and rates them. And sometimes we get upwards of 4,000 people rating, and we got that many on this. And we got an 81% community score, which I think is pretty fair for the community, because I know there are plenty of people who do not like this one as much as the other ones. And whatever. I mean, somebody, just because it made the most money doesn't mean it's the most well-received Elm Street movie by the fans. God, that upset me a little bit. I got to be honest, because I've had to fucking defend this movie for decades now, and this guy comes in, well, it made so much money. It's like, get the fuck out of here. It made so much money. The Last Jedi made $1 billion. That movie's garbage.
Well, I mean, yeah, the whole money situation, that's different. But I'm actually surprised about that score, because just over the years of talking to people online over the years, I've never really gotten the sense that Dream Master was extremely well liked.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I met you. There's one other person I know who really likes it, but
Well, Nate
like,
likes it too, so yeah,
yeah,
that's cool.
yeah, but and that's the thing, and like, but I'm seeing this with a lot of movies too, and I mean, I'm seeing this with fucking um, Jason Takes Manhattan and even Halloween Resurrection, where there's people like starting to show love for it. So I'm a little shocked that it got an 81 from the audience because I would have expected it to be lower.
Yeah, it's the fifth highest rated Elm Street movie, though, if that tells you anything, because the Elm Street movies are rated pretty high based on our followers.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think that's in general because I think of the big three or five or six, this is probably the strongest of all the series. Whereas Halloween and Friday the 13th have some fun movies, but they're just kind of not that great, like overall. Um, I was gonna
So
see. Go
so
ahead.
what? Two and New Nightmare or above it?
Yeah, two New Nightmare, three and one are gonna
Yeah.
be above it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'd have to consult my notes. Anyway, yeah, so not bad. I mean, our score is going to be definitely higher than that.
Oh,
You came out with a 91%.
yeah. Um. So basically, I faulted it for story because, especially coming off of Dream Warriors, which I thought had a brilliant story. This one was affected by the writer's strike. I know that it's said that there was no script, but technically there was a script. There was probably many different scripts. They just didn't have a final shooting script. So they were still trying to kind of piece it together and get all the approval.
Pizza. Did you say pizza?
I didn't say pizza.
Damn it.
And so I faulted for that. Rick's death I didn't think was great. I wasn't really too fond. And Rick's death was a direct result of the writer's strike, where they couldn't figure out a proper way to kill him off. So it kind of suffered with that on the whim type of thing that they did. And then killing the Dream Warriors off early, I didn't really necessarily agree with that. But I rate this high because I do like the new characters that they introduced. I think the effects work is amazing in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, Debbie's death, Freddy's death, Freddy's resurrection. There's so many good things in this movie effects wise. And then you have Rennie Harlan, who kind of brought a sort of energy to the franchise. I know this is dubbed as the MTV Nightmare on Elm Street movie, but I think it's all for the better of it. It's a much faster paced movie than the previous three, in my opinion, and it kind of makes it more fun. And then just the way it was shot, there's some great camera angles in this. The framing and like the colors in this were great.
Especially in the scenes where they're in the boiler room.
Yeah.
All the lighting is so cool in those scenes.
Yeah, and even in the church at the end too.
Mm-hmm.
It's
for sure.
It's really cool.
I want my life lit like that.
Yeah. And then the score was actually pretty good too.
Better than Dream Warriors.
Yes, an improvement over the score from Dream Warriors. So yeah, this movie is just a lot of fun. It's my go-to. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I love this movie a lot. I watch it quite often. So
don't you dare be ashamed.
I'm not ashamed.
Dare be ashamed. Okay,
I'll never be ashamed. I'm wearing my hoodie.
Yeah, I know. You just. I mean, it looks like you got sweaty armpits if you're, being that ashamed. So Seth with his 91%. I have a much higher score. Yes, 95%, and I love it. I've been a defender of this movie for decades now. It's my favorite sequel because the original movie is my favorite horror movie of all time. And I know this is a high score, but I give this high praise for many reasons. And most of them have to do with the fact that they didn't have a script and they still made a solid movie. The shooting script, as you said. the fact that they let Tuesday Night have like 3 songs in the movie. The end credits is Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah.
I'm just coming up with some bullshit. That's all
Put your
real, but
hands on me.
yeah. I mean, even that scene with Debbie, but like this has some inventive things where in the original movie was very inventive, and this one kind of was more inventive. Where I think the last movie added to the mythology, this one started getting back to doing new and interesting things. Like I said, the I don't know what to call it. The sewer of souls is what I've always called it, where the camera's going through all the souls, waving their arms in the air and shit. I've always loved that shot. I like the scene where Freddy is the nurse. There's like sometimes you can't tell what's real and what's that a dream, and that's different from the last two. And that's something we got in the original movie. I just think this one has some of the more interesting things, and I love the idea that this movie, like Friday the 13th, is almost like Freddy going up against, he's meeting his match in a way with Alice being the Dream Master, because she is the Dream Master, and Freddy's not. He's not the Dream Master, but there's a lot to this movie that I just love it. The Vinnie Vincent Love Kills song, such a good song, underrated, underplayed, by the way, also in the movie. Which we didn't get Dream Warriors in the movie, but that's a great song too. Just there's so much I love. I love Alice as a character. She and Nancy are my 2 favorite characters. I like Dan quite a bit. He's a guy who doesn't get talked about quite enough. And I'm gonna go see Alice again this summer. Lisa Wilcox in August. She's at Horror Hound again, and I'm just gonna give her a big big wet lickery kiss, and hopefully she'll look at me and tell me just what I want to hear, that I am one major league hunk. Probably not. But yeah, I don't know. I love this movie, and I'm unapologetic about it. And our overall score is a 93%. So more than likely, this will be the number 2 movie when we do our ratings show, which is coming up after we do Freddy versus Jason, which is an 87%, thanks to you psychos. I want to get to Alex's comment because I didn't get to read it. Ray, I know Ray said earlier that you guys don't have fans, just a community. I don't know. We do have fans, but I don't like to think of it that way because we're nobodies. We're like everyman. We're just fans of horror, sharing our views, putting stuff out there that we think people should see, and we also want, like, this community, the Horror Syndicate, to have a voice, and that's why we do what we do. You have a voice, even if it's wrong sometimes, but I believe you guys do have fans. Thank you, Alex. You're not a fan. You're a friend. Don't sell yourself shorts. You're the bee's knees. Freddy versus you are out of your fucking mind, Sean. You're really off your rocker today, my friend.
Is he saying better than 4?
Freddy versus Jason is better, more fun. I'm guessing that's what he means. Alex, I love your profile picture, by the way, brother. Anyway, yes, Sean. I gotta tell you, you got to be one of my favorite YouTube followers. You always have fun comments, and I'm always happy to see you pop up on the show, man. I'm not even joking. It's always fun, no matter what you say. I'm joking with you when you say you're out of your mind. That's completely your opinion, and I respect your opinion, as I respect anybody's opinion, for the most part, except for Seth's, because Seth is a joke of a person.
It's true.
No, it's not. It's not at all. But anyway, yeah. So next week we are doing the 5th movie, Dream Child. Weird follow-up to this one. But I love it. I love them all. It's going to get a lower score for sure, but it's still part of the love of Freddy, and this really closes out the entire saga that was started with Nightmare on Elm Street. Then we get 2 movies that are kind of like, they're almost like concept pieces with Freddy's Dead and New Nightmare, and then of course we get the remake and Freddy. They're all single-serving movies. The last 4 movies are all single-serving movies. Freddy's Dead does not fit on the timeline anywhere. New Nightmare is a meta something or other. Then Freddy versus Jason, which is more of an Elm Street movie, is still really doesn't fit anywhere. I mean, Freddy talks about shit at the beginning that kind of you could feel on the timeline, and then of course the remake is something completely new. So we need a Ring versus Grudge like in Japan. They like with the English. But first of all, the Grudge from America I watched once and it was awful. I'd like to rewatch it. The Ring I like, but the Japanese versions are much better from what I hear. I've only seen the Ring. I've never seen the Grudge remake. I mean, Japanese version. Maybe we'll cover those. I'm sure we can cover those on the Discourse show on Wednesdays because I know Jared and Nathan really like foreign films. Nathan and I did 2 Japanese horror movies from the 60s a couple months ago. I was really dreading that episode, and it turned out those movies weren't too bad. One of them was just too long, but Onibaba was pretty good. It's on HBO Max. Seth, any kind of final thoughts for this evening?
Nope. I think I've said my piece. I love this movie. It's I would say it's subjective favorite in the franchise. I know objectively the first one's the best. Probably objectively the third one's the best because of the story, but this is the one I prefer the most.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I just love this movie. I've said it 1,000 times tonight. Want to remind everybody that on Wednesday we are coming back to the Horror Syndicate Discourse. We will be doing the second installment in the Hellraiser franchise, Hellbound Hellraiser 2, which really, if you think about it, is just an extension of the first movie completely. It's one of the best, and it's a quintessential sequel. There are some films that you don't need to see the sequel. This one is quintessential, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I get a yeah from you. Yeah. Seth, this is his favorite Hellraiser movie because this is sequel Seth. Something I still think you should lean the fuck into.
Yeah.
See if we can get Luke to make you a sequel Seth, like a little picture of you and holding up some sequel movies or some shit. Oh, that's a good picture for you. Get all your sequel Blu-rays and DVDs.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a fun one. But yeah, we'll be back with you on Wednesday night, 6:30, 7:30 Eastern for Hellbound Hellraiser 2. And we will be back on Sunday night with A Nightmare on Elm Street 5. But programming announcement, we are going to have to do a different night, I think, for Freddy's Dead, because I will be I will be in Minnesota from May 26th to the 29th. So that Sunday, which is the following Sunday, I will not be in town. So we may do Freddy's Dead another night. Probably not even that week. I'm thinking we may do Freddy's Dead the following night after we do 5, if you're okay with that. Because that's the whole week I'm busy.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, I barely could probably do our normal show that week. So, anywho, you guys have a great evening. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, which I know our viewership of female is really low. Let's fix that. If you're a woman or if you have friends that are women, tell them, especially if they love horror, come follow the Horror Syndicate. We love women and boobs. First time I've mentioned boobs tonight. What about that? Anyway, have a great evening. Like I said, we will see you next Sunday as we talk about Dream Child, and maybe we'll just do 2 on next Sunday. Just do 2 different episodes. I don't know. I don't know if we'll have enough time, So we'll see you next. We'll see you next week. Bye.